Should you play Heroes of the Storm in 2024? Is the game actually dead? Stick around and we will answer both of these questions. So Heroes of the Storm is now nearly a decade old, having released in the June of 2015, and it has seen its fair share of success, peaking around 2017 to 18, with an average concurrent player base of around 500,000 people. However, with games like League of Legends and Dota dwarfing the MOBA landscape, can HOTS really compete? Let's first talk about the player base then. Are people actually playing the game still? Since this has become a little bit of a meme within the HOTS community that no one plays it. Well, I was surprised to learn that in 2024 there were still approximately 10 million active players, 3 million monthly active players, and a concurrent average of around 100,000 people. That being said, these numbers are likely to be skewed by the number of Smurf accounts, which we'll talk about later. However, with these numbers, it still makes the top 200 most played games in the world, which is rather impressive for a so-called dead game. However, if you compare this to League of Legends, who have a concurrent player base of well over 3 million, HOTS is tiny. But that's not necessarily a bad thing if you wish to play a game with a smaller community. Okay, so that's great. People are still playing the game and there is a generally positive trend in active players. But what about queue times? As I know at its peak, queue times was a significant issue causing many players to leave, including myself. Well, the answer is still a mixed one. The good news is if you are playing quick play or ARAM, which are the most common modes, queue times on average in EU and NA are well under 1 minute, and under 10 seconds in some cases, which is a far cry from the 30-minute average it was experiencing a few years ago. I know some players in Asia still experience some issues with slow times and ping issues, but nothing nearly as bad as they once were. It's still bad enough in some locations that they switch to either EU or NA servers. Competitive is a slightly different story. If you are a lower rank, queue times are generally okay, well under 10 minutes, but some users in the top ranks have reported queue times well over 1 hour, so I guess either don't get really good at the game or make yet another Smurf account, which is what a lot of players do consistently, and it's destroying the game to a degree. The devs did introduce a level threshold for new players going into comp to try and stop this behaviour, but it still persists. This also means if you are a brand new player and you want to jump into comp straight away, you can't. So what about overall toxicity, as this is a known MOBA issue overall? I played around 20 games of quick play, ARAM and competitive to get back into the swing of things, and I would say overall it seems a little better than it once was. Of course, I could have just been lucky, and there was definitely still the odd salty player pinging consistently and typing in chat rather than playing the game, but you get those in every game. What was really great to see though was people who were encouraging other players, offering support to newer players who were either new to the game or had not played a hero yet. As you switch to competitive, players will naturally get more toxic, and the higher you rank, the more entitled people generally feel. So is this game still receiving support? Well, yes and no. There is absolutely still a dev team supporting the game, but this has shrunk significantly from the 180 strong team they had back in 2015 to somewhere around 10. With this drastically reduced bandwidth, it is impossible for the team to pump out the new heroes and maps like they once did, so they are limited to balance patches and bug fixes. The last hero to be released was Hogger back in the December of 2020, 4 years ago. But is this actually an issue? Well, not really for a new player, since there are 90 playable heroes, giving you plenty of variety to explore new heroes and grind to get their next hero mastery ranks, providing the player with hundreds if not thousands of potential playable hours. A returning player, on the other hand, won't experience much new in terms of content. Let's look at viewership and esports then. There is still an active Twitch and YouTube community for HOTS, but nowhere close to where it used to be. Consistent content creators include MF Playtime, Caldor and Fan HOTS, while Twitch averages around 1,000 daily viewers. Esports, on the other hand, is virtually non-existent. Blizzard themselves once hosted their own esports league, and in 2018 there was an estimated total prize pool across all tournaments of 18 million. These days tournaments are mostly amateur, but Caldor does consistently try his best to cast these on his channel if you do wish to see how the top 1% play. What about overall accessibility and gameplay then? Well, Heroes overall is a slightly easier MOBA to pick up than the usual giants like League and Dota. There is no item mechanic and XP is shared among the team. You will therefore feel impactful in all roles, but as someone who likes the AD carry role, you may feel a little lackluster being on a level playing field with your other team. Some heroes are more challenging to pick up than others, noted by their in-game difficulty, so if you are new you may want to stray away from these, while seasoned or returning players may find them interesting or a challenge to master. Overall gameplay then is different enough to the other MOBAs that it keeps you engaged, while the loot boxes provided by leveling up keep you coming back for more. This is one of very few games that maintain the loot box system. I know the EU in particular are trying to ban these. Blizzard decided to remove the loot boxes from Overwatch, for example. So to conclude then, would I recommend Heroes of the Storm to a new player? Yes, absolutely. There is still an active enough player base, the game has good servers albeit with mediocre support, and there is plenty of content to get your teeth stuck into. For the returning player, you may feel little has been added to the game, but the queue times are on a whole way better than they used to be. If this video has helped you make a decision, please let me know in the comment section down below. Like for more content on HOTS, and I will see you in the next video.